According to the history books, DNA was discovered for the very first time by Watson and Crick in 1953. Could it be possible that Watson and Crick's so-called discovery was actually a rediscovery of knowledge discovered in the distant past by an advanced civilization that was subsequently destroyed, but which preserved this knowledge in the form of a symbol? The Cadeucus is a symbol that originates in the distant past. It is in the form of a staff encircled by two snakes intertwined about the staff and each other, precisely in the form of the double helix structure of DNA. This symbol is most frequently linked to the ancient Greek culture, where it was the symbol of the god Hermes, but its incidence is not limited to Greece itself. Caduceus was also emblematic of Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom, and further it is present on a libation vase dedicated to the Sumerian God Ningishzida as early as 2100 BC. The Caduceus symbol is also present on a coin of King Ashoka of India, which dates back to the 3rd to 2nd century BC. In my view, the coincidence is too unlikely. First, the symbol encodes within it the essential nature of the DNA molecule as the unifying structure of all life. The DNA molecule is common to all life forms, from the simplest bacterium to the most complicated multicellular organism, including man. This concept is metaphorically symbolized by the inclusion of both the snakes in the double helical structure as well as the wings of a bird. A snake and a bird among the animal kingdom are polar opposites of each other. Species are united at the most basic fundamental level by their common genetic structure. This is scientific poetry at its finest, the perfect metaphor to express the concept of the essential commonality of all members of the animal kingdom. Secondly, the double helical structure is not like a circle or a square, or an elementary basic geometric figure that one could expect to appear coincidentally in a symbol. It is an unusual, peculiar shape that is rarely encountered in everyday life. In addition, the concept of a double helix is even more complex than a single helix. It is not a familiar and elementary geometrical configuration, but a highly complex one. In fact, it is such an unusual shape that it took scientists decades to discover, or I believe, rediscover, that the structure of the DNA molecule was indeed a double helix. If this was an intuitive and familiar structural configuration, the discovery or rediscovery of DNA would have proceeded much more quickly than it actually did. But all of this might seem like dancing around the issue. Could ancient man really have had the technology to discover DNA? After all, the structure of the DNA molecule was unraveled only using advanced technology, including X-ray crystallography and electron microscopy. Surely even Atlantis, even if it existed, couldn't have been this advanced. I believe that this view is mistaken, and that I believe that Atlantis not only discovered the structure of the DNA molecule, but that they actively manipulated the DNA of animals then existing to create entirely new species. There have always been legends of hybrid and chimerical species such as the griffin, which has the head of an eagle and the body of a lion, and a centaur, which has the head of a man and the body of a horse. The three-headed dog named Cerberus that guarded the gates of Hades. The Hecantoshires, the 100-headed giants, the Cyclops, the one-eyed giant, and the Minotaur, a beast half man and half bull. These creatures, which are largely considered mythological and the figment of a wild imagination of the ancient Greeks, may in fact have been the products of genetic engineering by a remote and advanced civilization. Of course, these creatures could only have been engineered by a people who were not only aware of the structure of the DNA molecule, but who developed the science of genetic engineering to a degree that we have not even reached today. However fantastical it may sound, the discovery of DNA in 1953 by Watson and Crick may have been a rediscovery of Atlantean science, and we may be treading in their very footsteps of Atlantean scientists who mastered this science and technique more than 10,000 years ago.